Bernd, I think the question was to you. Can you repeat the question? But you understood it, at least.
This is certainly a political question, and I'm not so good in politics. For me, the movement of the Americans away from Europe to Asia is more a kind of scaring a couple of people. I don't believe in that. The United States must and will understand that in the worldwide competition, their partners are Europe, is Israel, and if they choose Europe, they will buy Russia with this. I mentioned the soup for Wales is thin. On the capability side, I do not see major steps ahead. What I see is that Europe is gathering more and more and will become a major pillar, an organized pillar within NATO. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike, do you want to add?
Yes, just to add a bit. Certainly as far as the United Kingdom is concerned, bearing in mind that the summit is in Wales, which happens still to be part of the United Kingdom, the government is particularly keen to try and present the United Kingdom as still very much engaged in Europe, because there has been, and in NATO in particular, because there has been quite a lot of feeling that we ourselves have become more distant. And there is this issue I mentioned before of the choice for the United Kingdom between supporting America elsewhere in the world and its contribution to Europe. It seems to me that from the United States, our perception of the United States, it's nothing to do with lack of interest or turning the back away. It's more a matter in the longer term of pure scale and where the crises are and what is left still to be Europe. And this is the message that Europeans need to take on board in retaining and developing their own capabilities.
Riki, from the other side of the ocean?
Yeah, I don't think that the priority and the demand of the warfighters for Europe it's below CENTCOM, it's below PACOM, it's below NORTHCOM. To the warfighters, it's not important. It's important, but not at the priority the other three are. I think it's going to be more policy driven. It'll be. I know Romania is on schedule. Poland is going to be a debate, I think, inside U.S. Congress a little bit on that. That's where I think we're headed.
Thank you, gentlemen. Some additional questions? Yes, please.
I just want to ask you is how far does the Eurozone economic crisis and the American debt crisis actually affect strategic programs like these ballistic missile defense programs? I mean, how far has the impact been felt so far? Because these 5 years have been quite bad for the country.
Thank you. So, who would like to start?
You are more academic.
I'm not sure that's the case. Well, clearly it's not just the Eurozone crisis, it's the crisis generally. The United Kingdom is not part of the Eurozone, but it's been hugely problematic, even where nations would like to sustain or develop their military capabilities. They've had to take big cuts. The United Kingdom in the 2010 Strategic Defence Review had to do some things it really didn't want to do, and had to do that. So I mean, it was obviously very significant. The particular issue of the United Kingdom and the Eurozone is another one, and a different one. We have a referendum probably coming back up in 2015 over membership of the European Union or changing our relationships. My personal view in this, and I think that a lot of academics would agree with me, is that it makes absolutely no sense to walk away from our geostrategic environment in that sort of a way and to be a merely supplementary toy on the fringes of the United States elsewhere in the world. We have responsibilities in some difficult places like the South Atlantic, but apart from that, anyhow, Bernd.
I think the impact of the economical crisis is absolutely speculation and unforeseeable. But even regardless of this unforeseeable, what might happen, Europe will remain the most powerful economical area on Earth, regardless what happens. And there are still a few members who spend more than they should, and currently Germany is not really inclined to pay for this, and you never know for how long you can pay for that. So I would say this: the problems are worldwide. It's for China, it's for the US, but Europe will survive probably in the West matter.
I mean, the predictions for economic growth, obviously, putting China at the top by 2035, 2050, whatever. But when you look at Europe as a whole, it's still extremely substantial, as you say, yeah. Hanging together.
Okay, last question. Okay, I have a last question. Since you friends are members, all of you are members from NATO countries, my question is how the cooperation between NATO and Israel can be increased. I am asking you personal views, of course, not the views of your country. Well, you spend most of your time in NATO and still in Brussels.
I think Israel is already pretty close to NATO. There are more than one committee where Israel is a member or a hidden member, and whenever it is necessary, you find a sponsor. Sponsor is necessary to be active in NATO. Nevertheless, and on the bilateral level, as a German, I can say. Cannot go better, and if I have heard, the Chancellor was here with his cabinet, and when I have heard that German missions around the world where you are not in place is taken over, this for a German quite something which we wouldn't have imagined 20 years ago. So I think you are on a good way. You have good products. And we will see. Competition is on.
I think that one of the best things Israel does is their integration, interoperability with the U.S. military. There's no better nation in the world that can fight together and share intelligence and be able to do a scenario. That skill set alone is very valuable to give to our NATO partners who are right there trusting to be able to expand their capabilities in a true fight as we go through. I also think the application of something as simple as an iron dome on a ship that we have in these issues now with ship protection inside the 60-mile range, that's another great opportunity that Israel can offer the community in terms of increasing that capability. So, just two things.
Right. Yes, as Bernd and you have both said, there are the bilateral relationships and below the parapet, very powerful relationships. I think one point is quite important, and that is that as far as NATO is concerned, it is the bilateral and small group relationships, whether within NATO or outside NATO, that are what's so important to making NATO really useful. And this is going to be increasingly important with the need for scale in managing the security of the world. That NATO needs important, reliable, and effective partners. And but it has sometimes to be a subtle way to maintain these and build these partnerships.
Okay, thank you. Okay, with that we finished our session with 4 different accents of English. And please join me thanking our distinguished guests from abroad for bringing us their views. זה המצב. אבל אתה מעביר אותם? אוקיי, אנחנו עוברים למושב הבא שלנו. לצערנו נציג ה-MDA, רוברט הלפנד, לא הצליח להגיע בגלל בעיות אישיות במזג אוויר, ולכן הדובר הבא הוא יהיה מר יאיר רמתי. יאיר הוא ראש מנהלת חומה, מה שנקרא באנגלית Israeli Missile Defense Organization, החל מינואר 2012. מנהלת חומה מופקדת על הפיתוח והייצור של מערכות הגנה נגד טילים ורקטות של מדינת ישראל, ובעצם זה הלקוח שדובר עליו בפאנל של התעשיות. לפני מינויו כראש מנהלת חומה, יאיר שימש כסמנכ"ל שיווק של התעשייה האווירית. לפני כן היה מנהל מפעל מלם, ושיואב תורג'מן היה פה קודם. ועוד לפני כן יאיר היה מנהל תוכנית חץ בתעשייה האווירית מלם. יאיר בעל תואר BSc ו-MSc בהנדסה אווירונאוטית, שניהם מהטכניון. ויאיר הוא גם בעל תואר, קיבל פרס ביטחון ישראל בשנת 2003. יאיר, בבקשה.